welcome to another vlog. If you're new here, hello, I'm Chantal. I'm a New York City based lifestyle and content creator, and I bring you a slice of New York City every Sunday on YouTube. After last week's jam-packed New York City guide, I plan on having the perfect chill day today, and I'm gonna bring you along. Starting off with coffee, I'm meeting a friend for coffee at Rhythm Zero here in Greenpoint. And then I've been really getting into disposable cameras and film. And I have two that I filled up with all the summer memes that I can't wait to see developed. So I'm going to drop that off in Soho. We have made it to Soho, and I am now headed to drop off my film. Picked up lunch. My favorite sushi spot is just around the corner from the film lab, so I got sushi and chicken katsu for us to eat at home. And then, coincidentally, my favorite cheesecake spot is right next to the sushi spot. You get the drift. So I got cheesecake, and I'm about to have a lunch feast when I get back because I am so hungry. Guys, I just got my film back. They turned this thing around so quick. I'm so impressed. I dropped it off on Tuesday and it's Thursday, and I just got the link to download my files and took a look. I am so glad that I finally dropped these two full disposable cameras off, because there are photos on here from months ago that I don't even remember taking, and there are some family shots and there are some New York City shots and all kinds of things in between. And I think I'm now hooked. Like, I have a new one that I haven't started that I'm itching to get to now. And so I want to show you some of the photos that I took, because it's the total vintage aesthetic, and New York just hits different through film. So let me show you the whole roll. All right, I am back home and it is time for our Q&A. Thank you so much for everybody who submitted questions on Instagram and YouTube. I have my laptop here and we are going to jump right in. If I don't answer your question, I will have done my best to reply directly in your comment, but there were some themes that I picked out that everybody wants to know. So this is going to be a very basic, let's get to know each other, because I've never done one of these. Let's start with the basic. Hi, my name is Chantal and I am based in New York City. I live in Brooklyn with my husband and 2-year-old, and I started this channel really technically 5 years ago when I graduated grad school, but seriously started picking it back up again since the start of this year, where we grew from 100 to 10,000 in just 8 months. So huge thank you to everybody who's been watching, especially those of you guys who've been here since the beginning. This channel is basically my me time. I get to go out and do all the things that I love to do and reconnect with the city, and I love to bring you guys along. So let's jump into your questions. First up, you have a little accent. Where are you from? To the couple of people that noticed, good year. I'm actually from Germany originally, and my family relocated when I was 10. So I've been in the States for 2/3 of my life, and most of the time people can't tell, but when I get nervous or excited, I start mixing up the V and the W pronunciation. If you've studied German or you live there, you will know it is exactly opposite of how we pronounce it here in the States. So that's awkward. But most of the time I keep it under wraps and you can barely tell. I do still speak German with all of my family at home, and I am trying to teach my 2-year-old Luca German as well. I think he thinks he's speaking one language, but most of the time he's actually mixing German and English words in the same sentence, so we'll get there. But I'm really trying to keep it up and make sure that everybody that I love understands it in our family and can communicate. Question number 2, what do you do for work? Are you a full-time influencer? Do you still work in architecture? Those of you who have been watching for a while will know I studied architecture. I decided to go to a bachelor and a master's, and then I decided never to work on it again. So some people might say that's a lot of education that you're wasting, but I actually transitioned into tech, and so right now I work as a product manager for real estate technology products. This is my creative outlet because I just can't let go of that feeling of putting something new into the world, and while you do that in some ways in product, for me I love to be visual, and so this is my creative outlet. Moving on to question number 3, what is the best thing and worst thing about living in New York City? To that I would say the worst thing immediately comes to mind is bugs. I have a huge cockroach phobia because I grew up for half of my life in Florida, and them things are big over there. So if you live in Florida, you will know palmetto bugs. I can't. New York City has its own thriving populations of pests. We coexist in the street. You'll probably have heard of the rat czar. If you've seen the news, you will have heard of the bed bugs that we sometimes experience, and I've personally experienced twice. So that's my least favorite thing. My most favorite thing, and the reason why I just don't ever want to leave, is the energy in the city. The arts, the culture truly give this place its identity, and having studied architecture, and even though I don't work in it, I still love all of the buildings here, the urban planning. It's super interesting the way that the city has evolved over time, and so I just love to live here. It's also super family friendly so far. We live in Brooklyn and there are a ton of playgrounds that we go to with Luca. He loves to experience all the different parks and play opportunities, and so we really haven't had a problem, and it gives us a lot of opportunity to switch it up all the time, and we just never get bored, which is amazing. Now, somebody asked about what my favorite neighborhoods are in New York, and it's tough to pick one, but of all the places that we've lived, I have to say that for somebody just moving to the city, Long Island City is a really awesome neighborhood, and I have done a YouTube video on it. It is so central to New York. You can get to Manhattan within one stop on the 7 train, right across the Midtown. It hits Grand Central, it hits Times Square, it hits Hudson Yards. You have the entire kind of waterfront park with 2 ferry lines that you can take to get all up and down the East River. Very nice newly built apartments, great transportation, and a lot of good food. For a family setup, we decided to move to Brooklyn. Brooklyn's amazing, and of all the places we've lived, this is the one that I just never want to leave. It's affordable, quality of living is great, and a ton of my friends live here, so it's It's really nice that sometimes we don't even have to go back into Manhattan for the weekend, which is really weird saying that now. I never thought I would be that person, but here we are. Question number 4. What gear do you use to shoot your videos? So I am a minimalist girly when it comes to equipment. Basically, my camera requirement is that it needs to be able to fit into my pocket and everything else needs to go into a tote bag. So I do actually own a big camera, which I initially purchased to up the quality of the vlogs. And then I realized it's way too damn heavy if you're carrying it around like this. I don't work out like that, so it's hard. So I use my phone to vlog. It's an iPhone Pro 13. It is 2 models old now that they've announced the iPhone 15 Pro. And it does the job, guys. Fits in my pocket, super small, very light. And then in order to help get some of the other shots, because I self-shoot all the time, I actually use a tripod setup that is probably the lightest tripod setup you can have that I've cobbled together. Long story short, all you need to get started, and all I use, is an iPhone and some sort of a tripod situation, and you're good to go. Okay, we've come to the last question. It is not about me at all. It is about the New York tote bag. So I often use the New Yorker tote to carry all of my stuff. That's because it is the perfect size. Usually I can shove all my gear in, a sweater, a book, and the way to get it is you have to subscribe to the New Yorker, which for a lot of you who are international is probably super annoying, and I am so sorry. I have actually found one other one at the Brooklyn Flea. It is an outdoor flea market held in Dumbo, but it's super unreliable. It just, if a used one comes on the market, you can find it there. You might be able to check Poshmark or eBay, but it's a bit niche. I wish I had a better answer, and people have asked me where to buy if you can't subscribe or don't want to. I don't know. I'm so sorry, but there are other tote options in the city. There are restaurants and bagel shops that make their own merch. There are the stores that I put into my New York guide video that I visited in Soho, some of which sell totes. So you can get a flavor of this. It's just not the exact one. All right, that is all the questions that I'm gonna answer today. I hope that gives you a little bit of overview of who I am, what I do, why I love New York, and make these videos because there's a lot of time, but I just love it. So if you want to support and you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Videos every Sunday. We're trying to grow this community. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you again next Sunday. Bye.